Good morning. Hello, hello. How are you? Hi, Lynn. Good morning. Sharon, good morning. Stevie, good morning. How are you all doing today? Let me see. I got to go like that. Right. Perfect. All right. So how's everybody feeling? I've got something really exciting today planned. I'm really looking forward to this. So yeah, I think if you want to share anything with me, please go ahead and put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to go back there and begin. So let me know. I'll look to see if anything comes through, because once I'm back there, forget it. I don't see anything. Let me just turn off my notifications. And I just realized I didn't turn off my clock. My phone, and I had calls last time. So let me do that. All right, so there are so funny. Today, somebody asked me about my classes. Yeah, they're recorded on YouTube, but you'll have to sift through the front and go through whatever's there in the front. So that will have to be X'd out. So for my classes that I teach on YouTube, I don't edit them. I just put them up as they are. So we see this whole part here of beginning and whatever it is that happens in that process. So that's that. And then I'm creating a lot of content that will be edited and much nicer. So you push play and follow along. So that's happening as well. All right, so let me see. Somebody came. And arm and shoulders are sore. Okay, good. Good, not good. I say good when you guys tell me something, because when I say good when you tell me something, then I know in my mind, okay, and I put that in my, in wherever it is that it goes, where, that computing area, where I'm like, okay, well, we're going to do this. All right, so it's going to fit in actually today with what I have planned. So what I have planned for today is that the classes that I teach each week, the focus is on aspects of what's important for bone health, whether that is the strength, whether that is flexibility, range of motion, posture, alignment, and all of the factors that are important when it comes to bone density. Because there are things we do that can contribute to getting more bone density and stronger bones, and there's things that we do in our life that take away from our bone density. And so I'd like to focus on all of these aspects. Is what lifestyle behaviors and habits can you do that are positive for bone density, and what are you doing that may be taking away? So with that said, today's class's focus will be on posture and alignment in your joints, because when we're off alignment or out of alignment, we take calcium from our bones to create more surface area in the joints that are off alignment, which contributes to bone density loss, which contributes to osteopenia and osteoporosis. So we're going to work on raising our awareness to our posture and our alignment, strengthening, lengthening, and many factors. And of course, when I say that, a lot of that's going to be this upper body. So it's going to be the head, the neck, the upper back, the core, and this awareness of what's happening up here. So if you had I've never given this visual before, but it just comes to mind for me. If I gave you a triple scoop of ice cream, which is crazy, because as an adult, I wouldn't even think of that. But right, as a kid, that indulgence on that level doesn't seem quite so unhealthy or sinful as it does now at my age. So a triple scoop of ice cream on a sugar cone, which is like a cone shape, and you've got 3 scoops of ice cream. And let's say that it's not super frozen ice cream, so it's a little softer, right? You have to hold that ice cream in a certain way so that the scoops don't fall off, right? Well, that's the same thing with our body. We need to hold our ice cream cone body in a certain way. Well, guess where your cone is? Your cone is here. and your ability to make sure wherever that goes, so that that top scoop of ice, let's call it our head, whichever flavor it is you choose, fall forward or fall off and cause stuff to happen down here, okay? So today's focus is going to be posture, alignment, joint coordination, balance, and then we take this time out here to strengthen, to lengthen, to fortify these aspects in our body. We lay down groundwork. We create neurological pathways of proper balance and proper alignment. Because if you don't do it, there's a lot of not good pathways being created, all right? That's today's practice. For this, I'd love you to have a lot of props. I'm gonna need you to run off and get some of these props. A blanket, block, and strap are the general. I would like you to get 2 blocks maybe, and let me show you why I want that, because for some of you, you may not need the 2 blocks because you may not be able to do this. We're gonna set this today with a supported elevated pelvis. For those of you that can, for those of you that can't, I'll give you options, and also chair is an option. So sitting in a chair today would be an option for some of you. For some of the focus we'll do on the posture. So 2 blocks to be able to do that. Also, you could use those blankets or something. There could go underneath your tushy, or in this case, this is a yoga bolster. In this case, this could be straddled. When I'm with people and I'm at the hospital that I teach for, we have access to props because I had them buy them for me. And this right here, straddling this like a horse, this is a really nice way to get this upper part of the body to relax so we can focus on it, strengthen, lengthen, readjust in the way that is important for bone health. So that would be an option. First, if you don't have a round, what could you make that's like this? Could you have a lot of thick blankets that maybe you're rolling up? And then also a smaller bolster. So it really depends on what your knees and hips will let you do, right? So that's what bending has to do with, is the flexion ability of your hip joint and your knee joint. And there's a lot of factors that go into why you can or can't do these things. So go ahead, gather whatever it is you'll need for today's practice. And I'll give you a few moments to do that. Harder pillows are better. Harder surfaces are better because when you put your body weight on them, you want to make sure that it's supported. So harder pillows like from a sofa, as opposed to softer pillows that we use to sleep. So go ahead and gather whatever it is you're going to gather. I'm going to show you what our setup will look like. And I'll use traditional props that I have access to, and you'll use whatever it is you have access to. All right. So I'm going to assume that many of you are back. So for today's practice, we are going to start to open up the spine nice and soft. Having a blanket, I'm going to do folds that are probably about 6 inches wide. And for, I want to say many of you, having 2 blankets would be better than 1. I'm going to with 1, but I think for many of you, having 2 would be more appropriate, especially if you know that you have some roundness in your upper spine that's already imprinted and stuck in there, which may be the case. All right, so I'm going to fold my blanket like that, and I'm going to use this for my legs, okay? So let me just show you. So I will not need this last blanket, but some of you will. It's a waterfall. I want you to think of a waterfall, larger to shorter to shortest. And this is going to go behind the heart. This blank piece here is going to be from above the heart to where the throat is. So this whole part here, our entire neck area, is going to be here in this free space, and the upper back. All right. So to come down with osteoporosis, you want to make sure that you do not spine. You're going to bring yourself down onto the floor and arrange yourself so that the blanket is behind the heart. Whatever you have underneath your legs is under your legs. For those of you that need that blanket underneath your head, go ahead and place it there. And if you don't need a blanket under your head, it's better not to have one. So this is not the case where let me be comfortable and support myself. This is let me be comfortable, but let me also focus on letting gravity really help to open up my posture. So if you could get away from not using a blanket, that's what I would prefer. And I know that for a lot of you, that's not the case. Take your head, arrange your head so that occipital ridge, that bump in the middle of your head, is placed right in the center, and you feel that pressure of you against the floor, long back neck here. And then the blanket that's underneath the heart is underneath the heart. When I'm with people, whether I'm working privately or in group situations, people usually have the blanket underneath their body too high, and they're also supporting the upper back area. And I want that to be a little free. So make sure your position so that when you put your arms out to the side, the arms are not on blanket. They are not on not touching anything other than the surface you're on. Okay, if you need to rearrange your head, rearrange your head. Take your arms out to the side, closing your eyes. Notice what you notice here. If you need to pick your feet up, if your low back is talking to you too much here, because we are manipulating this curvature, and when you manipulate this curve, you may experience the sensations in the next two, the neighbors, which is the low back or the neck. So for some of you, it may be a little relieving in the low back. If you lift the feet off the floor, you may start to feel the deep stretch at the psoas, attached to your lumbar spine. And because this is in the spine, it has an effect on posture. Let your arms be out, let your legs rest. I'd like you to tune in and turn your eyeballs inward. Or you may, I want to stretch, I want to use the word pull. It is a stretch. It can also be termed pulling, which have you go to the place in your body where you feel a stretch or a pulling on part of your skeleton. Let your mouth be relaxed and soft. Allow the spine to leave the fluids that were compressed or squished out into the surrounding tissues. Now all of those fluids can come back and nourish and bathe your spine. These fluids are some of the of posture of the body, and especially are out of alignment. So near your bones right now, calcium and minerals. So let's allow everything to come to the start line so that we can do what we're going to do to help to move, to shift, and to rebalance in our favor and in the favor of our bones. So allow your legs to be heavy, allow your pelvis to be heavy, and then really release your rib cage and your torso. So the rib cage and the spine, let it be as heavy as it can. And let each arm be heavy. And then in such a nice way, let go of holding your head up. Really let that head go. I'd like you to visualize that you're on a float. So think about being on a float with the warm sun beating down on your skin for the right amount of time at the right amount of time of the day. That's going to create, the skin is going to create vitamin D from those rays. Feel the weightlessness of your body. And if the float visual is not good for you, see yourself on a cloud. so that there is no tension or holding and you're completely letting go. Really yield to gravity here. Let the lips touch. Begin to breathe in through your nostrils, following the breath in the nostrils all the way down the spine on the inhale, all the way back up the spine and out the nostrils on the exhale. So really nice visual of you riding the breath. Following the breath in the nostrils, all the way down to the tailbone. Feel like you're floating on the front of your spine when you do this. And then follow the breath all the way up from the tailbone and out the nostrils on the exhale. And then let's warm up the ribs, the spine, muscles of respiration, getting our upper body nice and warm from the insides out. There's 6 ranges of motion that the lungs have access to. Let's spend a couple of breaths in each one, really trying to direct the breath there and starting to warm up and stretch the inner body. So let's take a breath to prepare. Take a big exhale. As you inhale, inhale through the nostrils. Inhale to the front of your chest. Feel the chest moving up towards the sky. And breathe so deeply that you feel stretching. Even down to your low ribs and your belly. Take one more breath like this. Now you're going to bring your awareness to the sides of your ribs. And as you breathe in, breathe wide. Let the sides of your ribs get wider. Let your torso expand to the sides. Visualize the shape of a pancake or a water balloon. If you place it on the floor, it gets wider. And breathe as big as you can so that you feel stretching happening. The next place we're going to direct our breath is back, to the back, feeling the prop behind your chest. Feel your low back moving towards the floor. Follow the breath in the nostrils, into the lungs, and straight back to the spine, all along the spine, from behind the heart down to the tailbone. On these next few breaths, you're going to bring the breath to the clavicle bones, to the top of the lungs, up towards the throat and the head. So breathe into the lungs and allow the breath to move up towards the head.
Last place is the lower ribs. Allow the diaphragm to move down towards your pelvis. Really deep breaths here. Feel the belly rise, feel the downward movement. Feel the entire belly rise up, out, and back down to the floor. Allow the breath to go back to the body. Give the breath back to the body. Bringing awareness to your fingers, to your toes as you start to move your body. Before you open your eyes, I'd like you to notice, how does the back of your neck feel? How does the part of your body that is supported by the blanket feel? See if you could feel the areas that have been stretching and opening. Gently bend the knees. Either put the knees on top of the pillow, blankets, or the bolster, whatever it is you have. And then bring yourself onto your side slowly. Head in your arm and allow everything as you move to the side. So the 6 ranges of motion, the lungs, they can move forward and backwards. They can move up and they can move down and they can move side to side. So that's all the areas the lungs have to move. Let's take your hand on the floor. Make sure you use your muscles here. So you're going to push yourself away from the floor and not pull yourself up your head. Many of the people and most of the time we are pulling ourselves up with our head. So let your head be heavy as you push strongly with that arm. Feel how much muscle act takes, especially if you've got one hand doing that job. All right, let's come and start to do some of our postural at the beginning of the class today. That was beginning stretching and opening and creating some blood flow, some nervous system flow, some space in this part of our body here. Let's go ahead. So I'm going to give you some options here. I'll give you some options, and then depending on how long, how many things we do in this position, for some of you, you may need to change throughout it. So pay attention to the different options I give, because even if you start in one, you may need to end up in another. So the ideal and what I'd like you to work towards is to be able to sit on your heels. So I said ideal and work towards. For you, this may not ever happen, and you may always be sitting in a chair to do posture work in the upper body, and that's okay. So I'm going to give you the different stages. You're going to find what's the right stage for you. One would be like this. The next stage up could be either a flat block or one block, and you'll know when you sit in it when it feels completely relaxing. The other one is to stack 2 blocks or something similar to blocks. It could be books. It could be rolled up or folded blankets. If neither of those is appropriate for you, blankets, pillows, towels, either straddling it, sitting on top of it, or placing it in between your tushy and your heels so that you minimize how much your knee joint has to bend. And this is honestly more doable for people than they realize. When I'm in class with people, I take 2 blocks for a lot of the people, and the majority. And for those with knee flexion issues, I take 2 blocks and then I take a 3rd block and put it up like this. And some are able to bend their knees for the first time in many years when we do that. Okay, those are the options for that. And then for some of you, you may want to sit in a crisscross position. So if this is where you want to sit here, elevating yourself with a folded blanket or a bolster will be nice for you. And if neither or none of these work, then you can sit in a chair. So as long, it doesn't matter what you choose something that's appropriate for your body. that'll feel the most comfortable. And this is going to open up the top of the feet, which will actually have a benefit of balance. So it's really going to be great for balance to have the feet open like this. When we are in a seated position, the important thing about being in a seated position is it allows the spine to be in a nice linear position, and it allows all 6 ranges of motion of the lungs. And we know that the lungs, there's a lot of studies done on this now. There's a lot of aspects about breathing that affect your mental, emotional health, affects your biochemistry and physiology. And I'm going to say that has an effect on your bone health, because bone health is a metabolic aspect, right? The bones, what's happening in the bones, there's biochemical aspects to that. Okay, and then you'll also need to have a strap for this. So bring yourself into this position here. Let's take our hands down alongside our body, and you're not casually taking your hands down. You're really taking your hands down here. So as you open them up, I want you to feel muscles opening them. So imagine that you're in a jar of honey. So there is resistance in the air when you do this. You're going to bring your hands down, palms are open forward, and fingertips are reaching down. So even in this position here, I feel a strong sensation in my neck and my upper back because I'm really reaching my hands away. So I'm trying to push my hands down and lift my head up, a little opposing action here. This is called Tadasana, mountain posture. This is actually in one of Dr. Fishman's series in the standing aspect is mountain. And they say that mountain posture, this posture here, is in all postures in the practice of yoga, or in almost all postures that are in yoga, because it's all about alignment, body alignment, when we do the postures. Take your hands here. Let's inhale. Bring your chin up. Bring your hand up. Turn your palms down and exhale. Let your chin come down towards your chest. You are moving your neck, the 7 vertebrae of the neck, but you're not moving the upper back. You're bringing extension and flexion into the cervical spine only, which is the neck. And this feels great for me. Hopefully it feels good for you. Releasing a little tension from the upper back and neck. For those of you that have shoulders that are like, no way, I'm not doing that, you may be like this. And maybe you're able to get your elbows to rise when you come up. Or maybe for you, it's this and this. Modifying whatever you need. Everyone and anyone can practice yoga. Let's take the hands to the side. Let's inhale out. Let the shoulder blades slide towards the spine. Feel that action in the upper back muscles. Exhale. When you come forward like this, there's no rounding in the spine. So stay nice and erect and upright. Notice which forearm is on top. Inhale to open. Exhale to cross. Inhale to open. Exhale to cross. Switch. Which hand comes in front? Make sure that you have a nice long neck. And then bring yourself back to center. A little side to side, a little lateral movement here. Depending on how high you are, reach your hand up to go to the side. For some of you with shoulder issues, maybe this is you. Or maybe this is you. Finding whatever in your body, whatever range of motion you have. This is range of motion. We all have the ability to move, and we need to keep moving. So whatever your range is where you'll stay. One more. This feels really yummy, and for those of you that have back issues, it's nice to create space in the waist area, and it's very important for osteoporosis to have length and space in the spine and to minimize the potential for spinal fractures. All right, bring your hands so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Elbows underneath your shoulders. Hands are on top of your thighs. Nice and long in your neck. Inhale. As you exhale, let your chin come down towards your chest. Just the neck is moving. Inhale, keep your teeth together, chin up towards the sky. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, chin to sky. One more. Softening up that upper back and neck. Lots of tension in this part of the body, trying to hold that heavy head of yours up on top of the spine. Stay here in the up part. Keep your teeth together. Reach your chin up.
and then come down. Hopefully you feel a lot of stretch in the muscles underneath the chin. Inhale, as you inhale, let your ear move up towards the sky. And then come back to center. Inhale the other ear up towards the sky. And then back to center. Inhale, ear up. Back to center. Ear up. Back to center. One more each side. And then bring yourself back to center. Rotation is the next movement. So you're going to look over your shoulder, and you could let your body go with this. Remember, the elbows are underneath the shoulders because we want to keep the shoulder blades in the back to help to support this upright position of sitting. Looking as far over as you can, and then to the other side. So I just felt my spine realign with that because I've got stuff going on from having one hip replacement, one natural hip. So I've got this constant tension in my pelvis, and I always need to make sure my spine is in good alignment. I have a lot of body awareness, which is why I can actually sense that. Last one, and I'm hoping to teach you to have a lot of good body awareness as well. All right, let's take the strap. Take your strap nice and long. Now watch me, because for some of you, you're like, there's no way I could do that. You keep your elbows straight here. You bring your hands up, you bring your arms up. When you reach back, you're going pretty far back. So you want to make sure that and this is stretching the chest, the shoulders, when we are always looking down, which is how we live our lives. Let's come up and stay in the back. Stay here. Push your heart forward, reach your hands back. So try to reach your hands back as far as you can get away from your body. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself forward. Let's take the strap. Hold the strap about this distance and pull the strap like this. Pull the strap. Take your strap up. You're going to pull it. Inhale. And then as you exhale, you're bringing it behind your head. Don't let it touch your head, but far away from your head. Slide the tips of your shoulder blades towards the spine and down towards the pelvis. Inhale to rise. Exhale, slide the shoulder blades. They're like triangles. And right below the heart is the point of them. Slide those points closer to the spine. You inhale up and you exhale down. Make sure you're sitting pretty solid on your pelvis so that you're not coming into too much lumbar extension when you do this. Feel that heat developing in those upper back muscles. And then one more, you're going to pull that strap, bring yourself down, stay here. Don't let the strap touch your head. Push the strap back away from you. Bring your awareness to your shoulder blades behind your heart. Slide them towards each other and down towards the pelvis. Real active back muscles here. Push the strap back. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. Let the strap go off to the side. Take your fingers. I want you to look at your fingers. There's a line on the top. There's 27 bones in the hands, 27 joints. I want you to see those top joints bend, the next joint bend, and then where the fingers attach, make this kind of emotion like you're trying to do a shadow voice talking, the shadow, the light. So try to do that so that you're really bending this joint here where the fingers attach. Take your wrists, roll your wrists around in circles. Look at my elbows and my upper arms. They're not moving. If you could hold your arms up here and do this, you're going to strengthen the shoulder joint. So do that. And of course, if the shoulders don't like that, you can lower your arms and then go in the opposite direction. And then go ahead and bring your arms down for a second. When we hold our arms out like this, it's good for posture. It strengthens the joint, the shoulder joint. This is isometric strengthening of this joint, and it's very important. This joint here has a lot of aspects that are related to our posture. Okay, so remember, I'm going to say to be here, but for you with your shoulders, it may be here or it may be here. Whatever it is, if you can load the shoulder joint up a little bit with the weight of the arm, try that. Or maybe even bent elbows may be better for some of you. So
Your range of motion is your range of motion. Let's do a little strengthening here of the shoulders. All right, take the arms out to the side and let's do little forward circles. Keep your neck nice and long. Keep your arms alongside your body. If you'd like to look side to side to make sure they're not forward, and then go a little bit bigger with these circles. Make sure that your hands are going to the back of your body and the front. So this is not all in the front. And then go a little bit bigger. And a little bit bigger. Feeling heat in the muscles of the upper body. A little bit bigger. And then stop. Let your hands rest on your thighs. Let your elbows be underneath your shoulders. Neck is nice and long. Inhale to get tall. And then exhale. Let the chin come towards the chest. Do not let the back round. Your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Push your elbows back. Let your shoulders help to support the thoracic spine. And then bring yourself up. We're going to do one more of those. That was forward, so that was clockwise. We're going to go counterclockwise. So let's bring the arms up and start to do backward circles. And then look side to side. I want your hands to be moving towards the back. So they're out to the side of you and to the side and back of you. So circle, circle, circle. Start to go a little bit straight with the arms if you can. Maybe you could get a little bit bigger here with the circles. Now make your neck nice and long. So you have a really nice, tall, long neck and your chin is parallel to the floor. Start to go a little bit bigger here. So it's definitely burning and we're using the muscles of the upper body. Stay with me just a little bit longer if you can. And of course, whenever you need to come out, you can come out. Push your heart forward, bigger circles. And then go ahead and stop. Let that tension leave, right? That tension that's there, let it go, let it soften, let it melt. Bring your shoulders forward, bring them up, bring them back, and bring them down. Go slow here and let your shoulders do this work. So let your hands join the ride. Let them just go along with the flow. Forward, up, back, and down. Forward, up, back, and down. And then take your arms down and then bring your shoulders up like shrug and then drop them. Shrug and drop them. All right, let's stretch. Take one hand to the side, flex the hand, reach the hand down, and then reach that ear up towards the sky. And then bring yourself back up to center. I would move really slow here. Move really slow. And then take your hand, the other hand, and let that ear go up towards the sky. Take one more breath, bring yourself up. All right, let's come to take the blocks out to the side. Bring yourself onto your blanket. And for those of you with knee issues, you may need to have a bigger surface to put your knees on. So for people with knee issues, they may need to have more of a blanket, more fold of a blanket. So let's come onto our hands and our knees. Take your hands pretty far forward here, so there's not too much tension in the wrists. Move yourself back side to side, and then I want you to move yourself front to back. So we're getting the spine to settle. Keep your head coming straight off of your body here. Head is straight off of the body. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Let's flip the toe under one of them and push the heel back. Get that leg to be nice and straight and bring the blood flow back to that leg. And then the other, push the foot into the floor. So the modifications here for wrists, you could fold up the mat and put your wrists on. trying to find where is the safe range of motion for you to bend your wrists. Let's bring yourself back to center. Let's come up here. So staying in your range of motion, not, I don't know how to articulate that. Don't stop moving. Stay in whatever is the safe range of motion for you. And wrist joints is one of the areas that I see that. There's a lot of fear in the wrist, and it's really something we need to focus on if you have osteoporosis, because it is just an area that is fractured often, right? The spine, the hip, and the wrist. So let's take the hands straight. We're going to do a wrist stretch. You're going to let the backs of the hands face each other, and you could stay up here if you'd like, or if you want a little bit more work, you could flip your toes under and sit on top of your heels. So choose whatever's appropriate for you. Backs of hands face each other, thumbs are down towards the floor. Take your left wrist on top of your right wrist. Let the palms touch, clasp the hands, lower the shoulders. Slowly bring the hands down and up so that you rotate the left wrist. So from here, some of you may be able to go all the way to straight. Maybe that's where the best tension is for you. Maybe it's with lowering the arms, pushing them away from the body, spreading the elbows wider. Whatever it is, find what's appropriate. A pretty strong sensation of stretch in the left wrist area. And then deep breaths. You could let your head go side to side here if you're feeling some tension. Let it be the ear that moves up towards the sky. Bring yourself back to center. Let's take the hand, let's unwind. Notice that left hand when you come out, especially right here. A lot of tension in that movement to help stimulate more bone growth on the two forearm bones and in the wrist and in this part of the body. Okay, backs of the hands are together. Right wrist goes over left. If you're sitting on your toes, and that's pretty intense at this point, try coming here and sitting on your heels. For those of you that can, for those of you that need to be up, be up. Let's take the backs of the hands together. The right wrist goes over the left wrist. The palms touch, lower the shoulders. Bring the hands down, through, and up to a place where you feel an appropriate amount of tension, the most tension that you can handle, so that you're creating a lot of stimulation for bone growth in your wrist. And in this case, it's the right wrist with the right arm being on top. And I even feel stuff happening over on that left side too. To intensify this, if you'd like, lower the hands, move the hands out to the side, push them away from your body. Deep breaths. Maybe explore all 6 ranges of motion of the lungs. So bring your awareness to your lungs and try to breathe out, back, up, down, side to side. And then finish this breath. Let's take the hands out. Shake your wrists. Here's a little stretch. Take your palms on the floor. The fingers are towards your body. I know this won't be for all of you. Try this. Maybe for some of you, some can't even get the heel of the hand towards the floor. Some are able to do this. And then to intensify this, you would move your body back. I spend a lot of time stretching this part of my body because it's so accessible. So whenever I remember throughout my day, I stretch my wrists. And then let's take the back of the hands on the floor. Back of the hands are on the floor. I know it's a challenge for many of you. Some are able to do it. Bringing the body back here intensifies that stretch. Don't push anything that feels unnatural. Don't go to a crazy tension sensation. It needs to be manageable, and you need to realize what is appropriate for you. All right, let's go ahead and get a block. Let's come onto the floor, do a little bit more support for the back. So when we were doing the strap earlier, we were strengthening those V-shaped trapezoid muscles that come down the back that are supportive for posture, and also the rhomboids, which are in between the shoulder blades. So those are bigger mover muscles that are on the outside of our body. You know, if you see a swimmer, you'll see these beautiful muscles on the swimmer. Well, now we're gonna go on the floor and we're gonna do some of the deeper stabilizing and postural muscles, the erector spinae muscle group, which goes up the length of the spine on the either side of the spine. So we're gonna get smaller muscles and we're gonna come onto the floor to do that. So let's come into a plank position first to strengthen the core. When we're on the floor, I'm going to direct you to draw your knees closer to your elbows to try to get you to go from this position to like this position. That's what we're going to try to do, but we're going to be on the floor, so you really won't move like that. What you're going to do is activate all those deep flexor muscles and really turn on those deep flexors. So with the block, we use the block to keep our arms in this distance because that's really stabilizing for the shoulder and really works on activating the stabilizers. So if you have a block, bring the block onto the floor. The elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. So bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. And then try with the knees on the floor first and the feet flat. And then press the feet into the floor strong. If you feel stuff turn pelvis and especially the psoas, it's nice and active when we do this. And then draw the low back up towards the sky. Push the arms into the floor, push the legs into the floor, and draw them towards each other. Feel how that deeply turns on that front body. So if you'd like, you could stay there, or if you want a little bit more, flip the toes under, pick your knees up, and bring yourself into a nice linear position where you don't have your tushy in. Really push the toes into the floor on either side. The pinky toe, make sure the pinky toe is touching one foot then the other. And then bring your awareness up to your elbows. Push your elbows into the floor and your forearms in your palms and push away from the floor. And if you have a block, push your hand into the block, the pointer finger, and feel how that turns on the shoulders. And then wherever you are, push your arms into the floor and either your knees or your feet and towards each other. Take one more breath and then go yourself down. So any part of that you did is perfect. Maybe not it stayed up as long as I did, but anything is good. Now come here, let's stretch that front of our body. So come into first, maybe enough for me. Have the elbows underneath your shoulders. Let your belly be soft here. So let go of the belly. Let it be soft and see if you could feel that stretch from the lower ribs to the pelvis. This part of your body gets short and tight and contracted because this is the area of the muscles that hold or support the head, right? It supports whatever's above it. So if your body was a triple scoop ice cream cone and your head is that top scoop starts to go to the side, these muscles are going to turn on to try to help balance it and bring it back upright. So push away from the floor, stretch these muscles that get tight and contracted. For some of you, let's see if you could go a little farther. Take your hands a little wider, push your hands into the floor, and lift your body away from the floor so you get an even deeper stretch. And then soften your low back, let go of your belly. So the tension, the protection that's taking place, let that soften. And then bring yourself down. Bring your elbows, hold on to your elbows here, one elbow and then the other. And I want you to walk yourself over to the left. Walk over to the left. Your pelvis is on the floor. You just walked over to the left, which is going to side bend your spine, lateral flexion. And then you're going to push your arms into the floor and lift your chest away from the floor. So lift the right side away from the floor as much as you can. And maybe you feel a stretch along the right side of the belly button. That's the top of the psoas. For some of you, you can go a little deeper by putting your hands on the floor and lifting a little farther away from the floor. And then if you do that, let your pelvis be heavy. Feel that stretch underneath the ribs and the top of the hip bone. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. Let's come to center for a second. We make bones stronger by demanding it. It's the only way they get stronger. That's why they say to do weight-bearing exercise. Because when you push on bones, or in this case, when you pull on bones, you stress them out and you ask for more.
and they will respond by getting stronger for you. So this pulling we're doing on bones actually can strengthen them as well. And right now we're strengthening, or we're pulling on the lower ribs. So this is where you're going to feel that pull as we really stretch these muscles here. So make sure you're doing the appropriate movement for you. So if I go up like this, maybe that's not for you. Really be inside your body and let your body tell you, yeah, that's okay, or no, it's not. Bring yourself over to the side, right? And then I would say that if you have a DEXA scan score, well, they don't even test your ribs. But if you know that you're pretty, if you know that your ribs are pretty precarious, then just don't go so big and don't pull on them too much, right? They're tiny bones, especially those lower ribs. So we want to do the appropriate. We want to understand what's appropriate. Walk your hands over to the right. You're holding onto your elbows. Push yourself away from the floor, and then bring your awareness to the lower left. And bring your breath down to your belly. So your breath can actually help to bring in a little bit of relaxation. And then take your hands on the floor, if you can, if you want to lift yourself a little higher. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way down. Let's come forward. Let's take a break for a second. Take your hands one on top of each other. Elbows are out to the side and elbows are far away from you. And then allow the forehead to rest on the back of the hand. Let your head go here. Let your upper back and head be like, whew, finally, she's given me a break. Walk your elbows away from you. Let your elbows go forward and away so that you can really bring this nice relaxation into the upper back and neck. And then take your feet wide, so they're as wide as your mat. Wiggle your pelvis back and forth, side to side. Breathe down to your belly. So if you want to do a little more relief for the low back, your tailbone is at the end of your spine, right in the middle of the tushy. When you breathe in, point that tailbone down towards the floor by your knees. Really feel like there's a movement in your pelvis. As you breathe down, your belly pushes into the floor. You actually add a little posterior tilt to your pelvis, pointing your tailbone down towards the inner knees. Take one more breath. And then bring your legs together so the big toes are touching. Push the pinky toenails into the floor so there's a little bit of an internal rotation in the legs. Put the forehead onto the floor and bring your hands alongside your body. So they're probably right around where the waist is. And the thumbs are out, the pinkies are closer to your body. Palms are on the floor, fingers are pointing down towards the toes. And then slide the shoulder blades towards each other. So feel the shoulder blades in the back sliding towards each other. Push your feet into the floor, push your hands into the floor. Inhale, lift your head off the floor, push your heart forward. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Feel those muscles all along the spine getting nice and contracted. Inhale to rise, stay here. Push your pubis bone into the floor, point your tailbone down towards the back of the knees, lift your head up a little higher here, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, push your feet into the floor, push your hands into the floor. Take one more breath, and then bring yourself all the way down, forehead touches the floor. Bring your hands back, clasp your hands. So you could either clasp your hands behind, you want your hands to lift off your body. For some of you, this is not gonna work. So you could take your hands alongside your body. And then we're gonna lift up as we inhale, lift your upper body, lift your feet, lift your head, lift everything off the floor. Reach your feet as high as you can, your head as high as you can. Your arms are as high as they can, either clasped or straight. And reach your fingertips away or reach your clasped hands away. Feel that strength in your body. Legs are lifting, arms are lifting, head is lifting.
Nice and strong for posture, for joint alignment, to keep the calcium in the bones so the bones can stay strong. On this last breath, lift a little higher. And then come all the way down. Turn your head to one side. Bend your knees, widen your knees, and let your legs go side to side. Feel your heart beating. Let your chin tuck towards your chest. Pick your head up. Turn your head in the other direction. Legs are side to side if that feels okay for you. If it doesn't feel okay for you, you can even do up and down, getting a little stretch actually on the quads. Last breath. And then take your arm forward, roll onto your side. Take your hand on the floor, push yourself up, push, don't pull. And bring yourself up for a second. Let's come on to the tushy. Take your hands behind you. Wrists that don't like to be loaded on, you can be a little wider and farther away. If you're okay loading your wrists and you want to do a little bit more to posturally align yourself, fingers are pointing towards your tushy. Shoulder blades are sliding towards each other, and you're really narrow across the top of your chest. Take your feet pretty wide here, and let's start to let the knees go side to side like a windshield wiper action. Feel the tushy rolling from one buttock to the other. Warming up the hip joint. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's do one twist before we come to standing. So let's bring ourselves onto a folded blanket and have a block handy. Folded blanket and a block. We're going to do a little twist here, which strengthens the core and strengthens the rotation muscles. We've done so much to work on the posture, thinking about that spine in nice alignment, thinking of porcelain teacups. Teacup, saucer, teacup, saucer, teacup, saucer. There's 26 of them that you want to find that nice alignment in. Let's come to sit on the whatever you're sitting on and take a hunk of flesh, move it back so you expose your sits bones. And then bring your block to your left side. Take that left knee, bend the left knee. Hold on to the left knee so you get nice and tall. You're growing out of your pelvis. You're not leaning back. So no leaning Tower of Pisa in your saucers and teacups, stacked from where you're sitting. Right hand goes around that left knee, left hand goes on the block. Get really tall, so push yourself down, lower your shoulders, inhale, active right foot, active left, and then start to rotate on the exhale. Low ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Come deep into the twist, push your heart forward, lower your shoulders. Breathe down to your belly. Slide those shoulder blades towards each other. Keep those shoulders out of your ears, no shoulder earrings. Take one more breath. And then slowly bring yourself out. Let's take the block to the other side, bending that right leg. Get your hands on your legs. So going from this, using the hands to really get that nice alignment, stacking all 26 saucers and teacups. Hold on to that right leg with the left hand. Take the right hand on the block behind you. Push down to get nice and tall. Inhale. As you exhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, upper ribs. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Push your heart forward. Lower your shoulders. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Active feet. Pulling the left toes towards you. Feel really strong here and find that alignment in your spine as you rotate. Very active, deep twist. Not just hanging out. Stay here, work it the whole time. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other and back.
towards the pelvis. So in towards each other and back and down towards the pelvis. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. Let's take that block off to the side. Come on to all fours. Let everything settle. Look straight down. The nose is pointing straight down. A little forward and back if you'd like. And then bring yourself up to a kneeling position. If you have challenges with balance, bring your strongest leg forward. And if you're pretty strong, bring your weakest leg forward. So challenge yourself if you can. And if you need the stability of whatever strength you have on one side, use that. Flip the back toes under. Take your hands on top of your thigh. Push yourself forward. Look forward and up as you bring yourself up to standing. We're going to do a few postures here that are good for hip joint, like total body strength, but really good for posture here. So you're gonna need a block for some of you. So let's see if you need a block, go ahead and grab a block. And then for some of you, you may need a chair. So for those of you that have balance issues, have a chair in front of you or have a wall behind you. Let's take our legs wide. And I want you to kind of load up the outer heel. So toes are lifting off the floor and you feel the heel as you go side to side, warming up those hips. A little bit more, a little inner thigh action here as well. And then bring yourself so your toes are pointing forward. Legs are really wide. Pick the toe up, turn the toe to the side, and then pick the back heel up and move the back heel away. And then put a slight bend in your knees, or your front knee. Shoulders are forward, up, back, and down. Hands are down alongside your body. Reach down, finding that Tadasana, that mountain posture in the spine, stacking your teacups. Inhale, push away from the back foot to bring yourself down into Warrior Two. Make sure that your knee is not on top of your, it's not forward of your ankle. So if you may need, for some of you, you may need to walk your foot forward. To go as deep as you can here. Create as much force in that pelvis as you can in that hip. Back foot really pushes into the floor. Look over the front fingers. Be as deep as you can in this warrior. Nice long neck, push your heart forward. Shoulder blades are on the back of the body, sliding towards each other and towards the spine and then down towards the top back edge of your pelvis. Very active arms here. Reach long, sink a little deeper if you can, drawing that front leg deeper into the socket, pushing away from that back foot. Push your feet into the floor, draw that energy up into your pelvis, and then stack your teacups. Take one more breath. Slowly allow the legs to come back to straight, hands come down. Toes are pointing forward. Let's go to the other side. Toes are up to the side, and the heel moves away from you. Slight bend in your knee, shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Reach your hands down, and as you push away from the back foot, load up that front hip joint. Maybe you need to walk that foot forward, maybe not. Push away from the back leg, and then look over that front fingertip. Shoulders are low, neck is long. Reach your fingertips long. Push your feet into the floor, draw that to the pelvis, and then stack 26 teacups on top of each other. Bring your awareness to your shoulders. As you lower your shoulders, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, towards the spine, and down towards the top edge of the pelvis. Deep breaths. Feel the strength, and this is a warrior pose because it takes on the strength of a warrior. The warrior in this case is us against bone density loss. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and straighten your leg. So we're going to come into a side angle, and for some of you, you may be able to go a little low here onto your block. So the toes are forward. We come into the same position that we had in our legs for the Warrior Two, or for the Warrior position, Warrior Two position actually, yeah. And then you're going to slight bend in the legs. Bring yourself down into your warrior.
And from here, you're going to lengthen your teacups, bend them over to a side angle. Some of you may stay here, and some of you may want to go a little deeper. Put your hand on the block. Go deeper if you can. Really load up that hip. Push away from that back heel. Reach your arm up. Push your arm towards the back so there's some spinal rotation, strengthening that spine as well. And then if you'd like, you can reach your arm up and over if that's appropriate for you. Make sure you're not rounding your upper spine. You're rotating and opening your throat and your heart forward. And then one solid line from edge of the heel all the way up the side of the body to the fingertip. Take one more breath. If you do have a block, you're going to want to bring it up with you to bring it to the other side. Put the block on the floor for those that are going to use that. Toes are forward. Let's bring your legs into the position. The toes lift up to point to the side and the heel moves back. Bend in the knees. Press the feet into the floor. Up, back, and down with the shoulders, bringing yourself into that warrior two position. And then lengthen your spine as you come down into your side angle. From here, either coming down onto your leg or loading deeper into that hip joint, going deeper if that's appropriate for you. What I'd really like you to make sure is that the torso is nice and long and that you rotate your heart forward. Feel that inner thigh stretch, feel that hip joint stimulation. Yes, pelvis and hip joint get strong for me. Nice long line if that's appropriate for you, from the edge of your toes to the tips of your fingers. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. Bring yourself all the way out. And shake. Shake. Become a piece of seaweed in the ocean. Your feet are the roots in the ocean. Your body is swaying in the water. There's no weight that you're carrying. The water is carrying it for you. Feel that your elbows go back a little bit. You're actually getting some rotation in the spine. Let's go ahead and release some tension. I want you to gather tension, lots of tension today. And the tension that was created, it's called bone building tension, bone stimulating tension. All right, so we want all that good stuff to stay there, the bones to respond. And then let's get rid of any negative aspects to that, whether it's, oh my gosh, I couldn't do that, or oh my gosh, I'm so weak, or oh my gosh, or whatever, all those thoughts, okay? So I want you to gather in your mind space anything negative that came up for you today, what you can't, what you don't have, what you lost, what you'll never do, blah, 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 dee, blah, 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 blah. That little troll that sits on our shoulders and talks to us. Grab, grab, grab. Hold it as tight as you can. The all I'm not ofs, all that stuff. And then let it go. It's gone. It's not yours. You don't own it. You're perfect as you are. You're doing whatever you can do. And that's all that I ask for. That's all you ask for. And that's all your bones are asking you for. Whew. All right. Back down to the floor we go to do the best, most yummiest pose of the day called Shavasana. Get whatever you'd like. Oh. Make sure you're comfortable. That's the most important thing, is that you make sure you're comfortable. So after all that work, you want to make sure that you relax and enjoy this part. We let everything settle that needs to settle. Come on down onto your back. If you'd like to bring your knees into the chest to settle anything that needs settled, even bringing yourself into a happy baby Getting that low back to settle. And bringing yourself into a Shavasana.
Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyam Kariyam Nimame Akame Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyam Kariyam Nimame Akame Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyam Kariyam Nilame 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 Akame
Bringing your awareness to your breath. Bringing your awareness to your body. Noticing what you notice in your body. Bring your awareness to your shoulders, your shoulder blades,
the back of the body, the neck. Notice what you notice. Let's bring a little bit of rotation into the neck, side to side movement, really nice and gentle. Turn your eyeballs inward to see and to notice what's happening in your body. You may have demanded quite a bit from it today. Bring your head back to neutral. Let's draw the knees into the chest. Hold on behind the thighs. The soles of the feet are pointing up towards the sky, and you pull your knees as close to your shoulders as you could get them. This will help to settle the low back. For some of you, you may have enough range of motion to put your pointer finger and middle finger in between the big toe and the second toe, and then put your thumb on top of your toenail so that you could pull your knees down and your legs down closer to your body. A little rock side to side here. Settling any of that tension that may have gone down to the low back. That's why there's so many low back issues in the world. It's one of the number 1 and 2 reasons people visit doctors for pain is back pain and headaches. That's what a pain management doctor shared with us. Those are his 2 number 1 and 2 reasons for people coming, backaches and headaches, because everything in the spine goes to the low back for support, because that's the part of the spine that stabilizes us. So we did a lot today to affect the upper part to strengthen it so we could take away some of that tension from the low back. Let's bring yourself onto your side, and then you're going to push yourself away from the floor to come up to a seated position. Thinking about the analogy of the ice cream cone with 3 scoops of ice cream. Of course, it's dairy-free, naturally sweetened, and really healthy. Maybe 1 layer is an avocado ice cream, a coconut ice cream, and a cacao. Full of minerals, full of superfood and nutrients. So ice cream doesn't have to be unhealthy. So stack yourself in a 3 scoop layered ice cream cone. I see my yellow, brown, and green layers as we speak. Nice and tall in your body. Feel that. Put your head where it belongs, which is on top of your spine and not forward. And then feel that alignment in your body. Feel the strength in your body. Let's bring our hands together at our chest to bring in some sound and close our practice, this focus on ourselves and on our health. Let's take we're going to close with the sound and because we're thinking of ice cream, it's good. All right, nice and tall in your body. Take a deep breath down to your belly. Bowing in deep gratitude for the practice of yoga, for each other, for the wisdom that we have, for the opportunity to work on self-care, to stimulate our bones, to learn about being healthy and staying healthy. Deep gratitude for that wisdom. Namaste. So I actually have a really great recipe for vegan avocado ice cream. For some of you, that may sound weird. I've not ever made it, but the ingredients are really good. There's coconut milk and avocado for bone health is actually amazing. So I may make that today, and I actually may make a cacao one because cacao has a lot of minerals that are necessary for bone health. So on that note, Monday starts my 4-week bone health lifestyle course because my goal is to, yes, guide you in class, but also to share with you all the other information that I learn about bone health. And nutrition and what to eat and what to have in your body to build bones is part of that. And also what to not eat that excretes the minerals from the bones is also part of that. So it starts on Monday. It's 4 weeks long. And I do have a lot to share. And Stevie, who's here, she's actually taken it twice. So I'm always evolving and changing it. And you get at least 12 to 18 videos
that you get to keep forever. Some are tutorial videos, some are full practices, some are all like 12 of Dr. Fishman's poses, some are focused on balance, posture. Also, I have a nutrition guide, and I can't remember, it's like 25 pages where I have a lot of recipes in there and a lot of information about all that's necessary for building bones, what we need to eat in order to build bone tissue. And then of course there's just a lot. It's a lifestyle. I want you guys to not just have to come. I want you to come to me every week, but I want you to know every day what's happening to your 3-scoop ice cream cone and how can you make it be the best it could be. So that's coming up. It's on my website, DebbieRobinson.com. I'd love to have more people there, or lots of people, to share this with as many people. Carolyn, thank you. Frida, thank you. Sharon, number 2, I don't feel like I haven't seen you in a while. Jeannie, good morning. Another thing I wanted to say is that I'm posting on Instagram almost every day. Today I did a little piece on posture. Maybe that's why I'm just in a posture place right now. And so that's that. So Anne, I'd love to know, because you mentioned that your shoulders and your upper back were sore. And so I just wanted to know if any of this, if that was good for you today, because this is good for all of us. And this is all posture and alignment. I feel the work that I did in my upper back right now. I feel that. And, you know, like I've noticed this year from focusing on posture, like how my levator scapulae is getting developed and my shoulders, my deltoids from, you know, this stuff. So this works, ladies. You're welcome, Sharon. Yes, good, Lynn. I'm glad you like that. You know, I just started with Instagram 2 months ago because I was thinking like, oh my gosh, Instagram, like it's going to wreck my peace. And I'm all about keeping ourselves as de-stressed as possible. Yes, Stevie, the ice cream cone, that's a good one, right? And then I was just really thinking here about, like, I don't know, you know, the clowns at the circus when something is going to tip over and they're trying to run underneath it. All right. You're welcome, Jeannie. Kathy. Hi, Kathy. What time is the Monday class? It's from 3 to 4:30 and it's 4 weeks in a row. So 3 to 4:30, 4 weeks in a row. I'm going to send out a questionnaire before, actually there's a lot of Q&A that gets answered. So there's a personal aspect to it, which is great. I know that I did my first one in November, in the end of the year. And I actually even asked Dr. Fishman some questions that people had, and he answered them all. So I've even got some great answers from a doctor, which is great. But since then also I've been so, you know, I'm really expanding much more in the space and really understanding that this is my niche, that bone health is my thing. And so that course, I think I'm going to eventually turn it into an online course. But yes, right now I'm there and it's live and it's 1.5 hours from 3 to 4:30 every week for 4 weeks. All right, ladies, I'm off. I've got a webinar in 35 minutes on calcium and the role of calcium in the body and how calcium leaves the bones. It's a very biochemical, it's from my health coaching, because I run mineral tests on people and look for mineral imbalances and then balance minerals, which is really important for bone health. So I've got a big webinar coming up at 1 on calcium. I can't wait. I asked so many crazy questions and I asked about alignment and calcium leaving the bones. So anyway, all that to share with you guys. Have a beautiful day. I hope you feel good. Anne must have left because she didn't get to answer that question about her, how she's feeling. All right. Have a great day.